Good morning. We are doing Uddhav Gita, chapter 8, the last message of Sri Krishna, verse 34 onwards. We had done a little bit about Maya and the coverings that are there, namely the three gunas. So today we are going to begin a new verse, which is going to give us a further understanding about the subject called Maya and how does a perfect man live. We are doing Uddhav Gita, the last message of Sri Krishna, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Uddhava. This is chapter 8, verse 34. One should look upon this universe as a hallucination, being a phantasm of the mind, now seen and the next moment destroyed, like a dream, and extremely shifting like a circle of fire. It is one consciousness that appears as multiple in form. The threefold distinction due to the transformation of gunas is Maya. Now here Krishna is giving a definition about Maya. Now what is Maya? This question has plagued many scientists, spiritual scientists I can say, and people around the world. And the more you try to understand about Maya, the more confusion there is going to be. What is Maya? Maya is anything that happens to you which raises a particular feeling inside of you of like, dislike, hate, love, good, bad, ugly, beautiful. The moment it raises this kind of differentiation, it is the work of Maya. How does this Maya work? So here he is giving an understanding. What is this hallucination that is happening to a person? One should look upon the universe as a hallucination, being a phantasm of the mind, now seen and the next moment destroyed. Think about it. At this given moment in time, there are bubbles rising in the water. There is a wave coming in the ocean. Few moments later, the bubble vanishes. The wave has gone away. Can you say that there was a wave? Of course, it will be like a memory to you, but can you identify it now? There is no answer because now there is no wave. Similarly, the bubble vanished. In the same way, you will find that glaciers are there, they vanish. The volcano erupts. After some time, everything comes back to its normal state. Many years ago, a king came in this world. He ruled it. Now nothing is there. An entire civilization called Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, it vanished. In Krishna's time, there was an entire civilization based in a place called Dwarka. Where is Dwarka today? Krishna's Dwarka doesn't exist. Likewise, many years from now, this world is not going to be the same. Everything changes. What is permanent in this? Nothing is permanent. That which you see, hear, touch, feel, whichever, whatever you do, and which has attributes, is not real. What is not real, and why is it not real? Let us imagine there is a blind man. He is blind from birth. Try explaining to him what is red color or green color. Nobody will be able to explain to him what is red color or green color because he cannot see. Now you may say, if he touches, maybe he will understand. Unfortunately, touch is different than seeing, isn't it? So for him, is the color real? Not at all. But for the person who sees it, it is very much real. Let us come to the next example. There is a deaf person. Now this deaf person is played a music, or you are saying something behind that person's back. He's such an idiot. Do you think that the deaf man will understand that? He can't hear. And you are saying it behind his back. Even if he lip reads just now, if he knows how to lip read, then he may understand. But otherwise, it is like putting on the television and cutting off the sound to zero. You are only going to see images. What are the characters saying over there? No idea. If you can lip read, you will understand. Otherwise, everything is blank. So for the deaf person, everything is blank. For a dumb person who cannot speak and who cannot write also, tell him to describe something. I don't think he will be able to describe if he cannot write also. So you got the understanding that if you do not have that sense or the understanding, nothing will appear to you. Imagine that. And why are you getting disturbed by these things? Man gets disturbed because when he sees, hears, touches, feels, smells, tastes, everything appears different. Now the difference appears because his vision is there. I just now cleaned my eyes, isn't it? Did you see? I did like this, or maybe I did like this. If there is something in your eye, do you think you can see? Then you're going to blink your eyes, isn't it? Similarly, if you put your fingers in your ear, you can't hear. These are the senses and then the mind at play. These are the two things which are involved in the process of understanding certain things. Now, these two things are working, let us say. The third is called the intellect. If your intellect has gone to sleep, nothing will appear to you. Look at it from the point of a view of a person who is maybe a little crazy. What happens to that person? Do you think he understands what is happening? A madman on the roadside, he may be eating from the dustbin. Do you think he understands? His senses may be working. His mind may be telling him, oh, there is food over there. But his intellect is not giving him any understanding whatsoever whether it is right or wrong. And he's just eating it. Knowledge is very important over there. Material worldly knowledge over there. But here we are going to talk about the spiritual knowledge. So let us make this distinction also. Foreknowing spiritual, which has nothing to do with this body. You cannot get disturbed by what is happening outside you. If you see something, why is your mind and your intellect also reacting to it? You say it is so real. The reality exists only for you. If you see two people arguing, now you have gone to the market and there is an husband and a wife. Last time also same thing happened. I think you need to change this, or there has to be some kind of a mechanism which holds it properly. I'm sorry. If you have gone to the market and you see two people in front of you, and these two are arguing. One says, we have got so many potatoes at home. The other one says, no, we should buy some more. And the argument goes on. Each one has a different perspective of the same. The wife may be saying that we do not have sufficient, because she might be planning for making something with the potatoes at home. The man is saying there are lots of potatoes at home. Why should you buy? He is saying from his perspective, the wife is saying from her perspective, and an argument ensues. And you are standing over there looking at it. You are an observer. And you can see the foolishness of this conversation or this argument. There is no point in arguing. Someone wants to buy, someone doesn't want to buy. Each one has a skewed logic. One logic says it's already there, other one thinks about the future. Can you imagine that? Both of them are thinking at two different levels and none is right, or both may be right. But the observer is laughing away. He says, LOL. Why? Because the foolishness of the argument is there. What is the point in arguing over stupid issues? Someone picked up a book from my bookshelf. And the person, while keeping it back, one of the front page was slightly bent and it became a little frayed. The person who is looking at this says, the other person doesn't even know how to keep the book properly in place. What an idiot! And then half an hour of argument and stupidity happened. Now you are an observer. Look at that thing. It may be a holy book. If it is a book for the Hindus, will it have any significance to any other person from other religion? No. It is a book. Why is a person getting upset over a stupid issue called book? That person has got pots of money and can buy hundreds and thousands of the same book. And yet, the stupidity of all this can be seen. This is Maya's way of telling how silly and idiotic the human being is. If somebody is irritating you on the phone, you know there are telecallers. You keep on getting one call, then another call, and then another call, and then another call, and you may be busy in a meeting. You are going to get irritated by it. What is the best way out of the situation? There is in your phone settings where you can go and bar that person from calling you again. The answer is so simple. The answer for that frayed book is so simple. But a whole load of argumentation happened over silly and stupid issue. You may ask, doesn't the other person do the same thing constantly? Of course. If an idiot can argue over a subject for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours and can be lost in the mind for 1 day, 2 days and the rest of 10, 20 years of life, just think about it, what exactly is happening to that person. That is called the phantasm. That is called the hallucination. The person is disturbed by silly, stupid things which actually do not exist. Krishna is saying this very clearly. Do you understand? Think. You are going for a meeting. And before going for a meeting, you have eaten maybe curry. And the curry drop has fallen on your shirt. And you don't even know about it. The whole meeting is over. When you come back home, you look at that big red spot over here and you say, oh my God, this was there during the meeting. Did it alter your state of being when you were in the meeting? Not at all. You were conducting the meeting in the most perfect manner and nothing disturbed you. Even though the dot was over there. Think. But the moment it fell and you come to know that it is fallen over there and then go for the meeting, your entire meeting will be washed out because you are still thinking that curry has fallen over here, curry has fallen over here, curry has fallen over here. It is something which you cannot even understand. And yet it has destroyed your entire life. Think. A man or a woman marrying and then in the first year itself, one person has a doubt on another person. What kind of life are they going to lead after that? Oh, my husband is not in love with me. My wife is not in love with me. Do you understand what is going to happen? The entire life of these two people will be in ruins. For what reason? For a silly and a stupid thing which doesn't even exist. It is very important, if you want to be in spiritual, to understand. Krishna is saying to Uddhava, see my dear fellow, look upon this world as nothing but a hallucination. It is like a dream. You see, when you open your eyes and wake up, the dream vanishes. Why are you giving so much credit to a stupid thing? An entire life is lost when a woman says, my father has been abusing me, he has beaten me. A wife will lose her entire future if she keeps on thinking about it. The man will be completely lost if he says, oh, my brother has taken away my property. God has given you hands and legs and brain. Can you not make another property? Of course you can. There are solutions in this world. An idiot never finds a solution. They just keep on harping on the same subject over and over and over and over. But if you remove the subject out of your mind, just the way you switched off that telecaller, remember? Switch him off. Don't take the calls. Put him barred. And then it is not going to disturb you. You have had an affair with a man, and the man keeps on pestering you. Now you are no longer in love with that person. When his name comes up or his image comes up in Facebook or Twitter or some such kind of a place, you know the amount of upset that you're going to have. My ex, the X is irritating you far beyond your own mind. It's taking up your mind space. God has not given you this mind space to get lost in the past or in the future. God has given you this mind so that you can use it right now for constructive purposes, because this mind is always deluded. One should look upon this universe as a hallucination, being a phantasm of the mind. Everything is in the mind. There is nothing outside, let me tell you this much. If I remove the mind from the middle, the color will not appear as red or green at all. The sky will not appear dark to me or light to me. The sun will not burn me. You see, I am sitting there in the sun and it is not going to affect me. If I do not have in my mind that there is virus in the air, I will be doing my job as if it is a natural thing. But the moment I think, oh, there is virus over there, there is virus over there, there is virus over there. Do you understand? You will not be traveling even by the trains. You will not be going by the bus. You will not be traveling outside anywhere. You are just going to be confined, and that is called fear. On one side, it can be called stupidity also. What are the chances? Don't take chances, the world says so. Well, chances are there and chances are not there. The mind doesn't exist, so there are nothing to be bothered about. So, now that you see, and the next moment it is destroyed. This X, if you have not kept him in your phone book also, okay, doesn't exist anymore. Isn't it true? That man, that woman might have got married to somebody else. They are no longer troubling you. Doesn't exist for you. You keep on thinking about that person? No, you don't. In the same way, when you are in school, college or work, in your last work, previous job, Somebody was harassing you. In the new job, do you think that person exists for you? Not at all. If you had an idiotic kind of a professor in your college who was always against you, gave you less marks and all, now you're working in a company. Do you think that person exists in your world? No. So, do you understand what he says? One moment it is seen, the next moment it is destroyed. But you can destroy your entire life just thinking about a subject. Thinking. Dwelling on the stupid issues can make a person's life miserable. I have seen miserable people in my world. People who are going through divorces. People who just take one small issue and keep on rubbing it. Not only making their life miserable, but their entire families and people around them, their life miserable. For what? Because they cannot control their mind. And that thing doesn't actually exist. It's like a dream and extremely shifting like a circle of fire. Have you seen the circle of fire? They put one rope, at the end they tie something and there is and then they light it up. In the circuses and the person rotates it round. It seems like there is a circle over there. Actually, there is no circle. It is a phantasm which a person lives in. Have you ever seen the person who is living in his own world? Always with the head down or lost somewhere, frayed eyebrows, thinking. Dwelling on a subject which has absolutely no significance, which will not take that person anywhere ahead in life. Do you get the point? And this is the reason why a man always falls for Maya. And those who think they are in spiritual, think they are in spiritual, and they believe that I am a spiritual person, just a little twitch over there can destroy their spirituality, just that little pinch. When you can be lost in this domain called Maya. Remember, all this is one consciousness. Everything is one consciousness called Krishna consciousness. Krishna is the consciousness. Krishna is describing this consciousness to you also. He says, consider this only as one single consciousness. And it appears as multiple forms. Just like the bubble, just like the wave, it came and it went, it came and it went, it came and it went. Was that the same wave? No, it is a different wave, it's a different bubble. And does anybody remember it? Nobody remembers it. You don't remember a bubble or a wave. Think about your own parents or grandparents or anybody that you can think of. They spend their entire life working in some stupid place, a government organization or some kind of a place. They are retiring right now, or they might have been retired. They are dwelling in their mind on subjects which have no value. Person may be 60, 70, 80 years old also. He's still thinking, when I used to work during that time, people would listen to me. Nowadays, nobody listens to me. What is this newfangled thing that you have bought? Earlier, the phones used to work. Now, the new phones, oh my God, they are so difficult. I want you to think. Stand like an observer outside and look at this person who is behaving like an idiot. Can you see the idiocy of that person? He's not even interested in moving ahead in life. All this that I said just now is called Maya. It works under the gunas. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. If the person is tamasic, he will say, why is this person irritating me and calling me constantly? A person is Rajasic, I will go and smash that person. I will go and destroy that person. A person is Sattvic. Person will say, let me switch off that person. There is a very beautiful story of Buddha. I think I have told this story a million times, and yet it doesn't enter the person's mind. Buddha and one of his disciples were walking on the road. Suddenly a man comes in front of him and starts abusing Buddha. He keeps on calling him names, different names, and saying a lot of bad things. Buddha stands over there looking at that person. After half an hour or so, Buddha says, have you finished? Yes. And then Buddha thanks him and walks away. His disciple, meanwhile, is walking along with Buddha and says, Buddha, do you know that person was talking such bad stuff about you? I wish I can go and smash his face. I wish I can go and kill him. I want to smash his teeth. I want to do this and I want to do that. Buddha looks at him and says, oh, you were listening to it? Do what you want. For me, nothing appeared. Nothing happened to me. Does it mean that Buddha was right and the student was wrong? Or does it mean that the student is right and Buddha is wrong? Understand this. It is called the play of Maya. A serene person will not even bother about it. Will walk away after listening to all the trash. Ears are there, remember? You can hear. Mind is not there, doesn't listen. Nothing appears. But for that disciple, for that student, I want to smash his face, I want to put his teeth in, I want to kill him, I want to murder him. Well, these are the variations of the gunas. Buddha is sattva and the disciple is tamas. And this is what he says. The threefold distinction due to transformation gunas is Maya. If a person gets carried away by these kind of things in the world, it is called Maya. Whereas nothing is happening. If somebody calls you names, if somebody says something to you, if somebody harasses you, if somebody is trying to irritate you, the moment you understand that you are just the spirit and not the body, does it really make a difference? A live example I will give you. I have put a soft drink in a bottle. I put a soft drink in a bottle. And the bottle is very ugly. A person will look at that bottle and will say, this is horrible, I don't like this. If I have put one of the worst drinks on planet Earth on the costliest bottles, and you are paying through your nose for that, you will still say, it is so beautiful. It is so nice. Are you deluded? 100% you are deluded. Isn't it like looking at a very beautiful woman? She looks so pretty and so beautiful, but has the worst character on earth. You look at a man who is so handsome, hunky and all that, and he turns out into a Don Juan. He's got 25 girls around him. Yeah, I got one aircraft, I got one. Come on. Does that tell you the character just because he looks good? Isn't it false coverage, a covering which you have put on some person? There are some people who appear so nice in public. They will give flowing speeches. They will say, हम ये करेंगे, I will do this and we will do this and we will do that, and the person inside is constantly dwelling on the past. Do you think that person is worthy enough for this world? It's a fake persona. It is called hypocrisy. And the funniest part of it all is when the same person will turn around to Krishna. Uddhava will turn around to Krishna and say, "You made me." What the person doesn't understand is, if the bottles are coming out of the production lineup, they belong to a company. Okay? And if one bottle is broken in the production lineup, or if it is damaged, does it mean that the chairman is responsible? Do you think that the company is bad? No. Something happened along the way. And that is called Maya. Do you get the point? Today, one of the greatest examples right in front of your nose is coronavirus. Isn't it? What has coronavirus to do anything with corona beer? Nothing. But idiots in this world are applying one to the other because they are deluded by Maya. The name is the same. So do you understand, this delusion is so fantastic that a person is lost in this world? What use are they to this world? They are the people who slow down this entire process of going ahead. These people are needed to destroy a nation. You see, when some politician or some good man wants to change the nation, wants to do something, there are always these kind of people who are going to put obstacles in the path. And all this is because of the world of Maya. Now, all this that we said was a phantasm and was nothing but unreal. You can judge for yourself whether it is real or unreal. It is all unreal. There is a woman which is harassed by her husband. She undergoes a divorce. She marries a new husband. She gets married once again and has a new husband. Maybe that husband is a loving one, but the first one was beating her. You see, till the time she doesn't marry the second one, she just keeps on dwelling on it. That person was beating me, that person was beating me, that person was beating me, that person was beating me. Keeps on going on and on and on and on and on. But when she meets this other person, she forgets about the first one and then she says, "Oh, I'm in love." Till the second husband does something completely different. He goes and has an affair outside. And then what happens? "Oh, my husband is having an affair. My husband is having an affair." Oh, is that so? Well, all this is nothing but phantasm. It is nothing but hallucination of the mind. Why are you in that kind of a relationship? Why do you want to get married? Why do you want to be a part of that world? Why does these different things affect you? It is all because of the mind. And now I will open the second verse so that you understand, if you are really that idiot in this world, you should understand the next two verses. Because if you want to become perfect in this world, listen to this verse. We are doing verse 35. We are doing Uddhav Gita, chapter 8, verse 35. This is for a person, Krishna's advice to the person. Withdrawing the organs from the universe, one should be immersed in one's own bliss. One should give up desires, be silent and free from action. If ever the universe is experienced, it will not lead to error, being one discarded as unreal, but will linger as a memory only till death. Krishna's explanation over here is very simple. Withdraw the organs. What are the organs? Eyes, and the eyes which saw everything. Saw the problem that is happening in the world? Yes. Withdraw this another organ called ear. Why do you want to hear? Remember, Buddha never heard. He never saw, he never heard. So if he didn't see and hear, it doesn't affect him. So withdrawing the organs from the universe, taste. There are some people who will have the taste and they will say, this is not good. I don't like this. This is not good. Okay, withdraw the taste. Why are you bothered with the taste? The smells, the touch, the feel. Why are you so much interested in it? Withdraw from these senses. When you withdraw from these senses, where are you supposed to take this mind which was there in the senses? Take it inwards. The God lives within you. Take it inwards. Don't look at that other person's mistakes. Don't look at the other person doing those things. Point all the fingers to yourself. Point all these fingers to your own being. Who is the idiot? Not the person who kept the book wrongly, not the person who was calling you up constantly, not the person who was arguing over the potatoes. None of them are wrong. They are idiots. Why are you bothered with them? Look at yourself. It is your job to make yourself perfect. Krishna also says that it is you who can be your best friend or your worst enemy. Do you think a father and a mother gives birth to a worst kind of a child? No. Every father and mother who wants to give a birth to the child will always consider their child as very good. Then the person becomes bad in this world. Isn't it? It can happen, isn't it? But God, who is our Father in heaven, God, who is Krishna, has given us this body so that we can use it, so that we can rise higher, not go down further into the dumps. That is the reason why withdraw the senses. Withdraw them so that you don't have to think about these kind of stupid things in this world. Can you imagine Marie Curie and various other scientists who are heads down working in their laboratory? Do you think they are thinking about eating, drinking, coronaviruses and everything else? They are not even bothered about it. They are working. If somebody is supposed to write something, that is called work. Write. If somebody is supposed to direct something, direct. If somebody is supposed to cook something, cook. Why are you thinking about something else? You are forgetting your own growth. So look at the self within. Look within. Don't look outside. If you look within, nothing is going to disturb you. If you keep on looking outside, everything is going to disturb you. You will see the madman roaming on the road. He talks like this to himself. He's absolutely crazy, a loony bin. Why do you want to become like that? Why do you want to blame the world? Can you look at yourself, the self within? And then one should be immersed in one's own bliss. One should give up this desire. The desire, other person should be doing like this, other person should be doing like that, other person is like this, other person is like that. That is a desire. It is your desire that others should be conforming to your wishes. It is your desire. Because you are imperfect, that is why you are putting your desires on somebody else. Isn't that what the parents do? The parents, they have never got education. They want to educate their children and they keep on forcing them. Do your engineering, do your engineering, do your engineering. For what reason? You put everything on from yourself to somebody else. And that is their desire. It may not be that other person's wish also. And this is never understood by people. If you put your desires in place, then you are going to be disturbed. So give up these desires. Destroy these desires of yours. I will take 5 minutes more. Be silent and free from action. Can you be silent? If you see something wrong, can you silently go and correct it? Nothing will affect you. When you see your own mother not putting salt in the vegetable. Are you going to be that idiot who is going to keep on pointing, you did not put this, you did not put this, you did not put this? Well, can you not put it? Yes. If you put it, all will be well because you are silently doing it. So silently correct it. Do not have to talk about it. You do not have to bother your head about it. And do not dwell in the mind. Free from action. You see, it is like this. If you have put that salt in it, don't keep on saying, I corrected it, I corrected it, I corrected it. That is called talking too much. Don't say those words. If they are not there in your mind, why are you saying it? Be silent. I have given this mantra to some of my own disciples and I have told them silence is your only mantra. I will not give any other mantra to the person because the one whose mind talks too much, for them, their job is only to be silent. Silent in their mouth and in their mind. But it is the most difficult thing because they never follow the Guru properly. The understanding that you are sitting and learning something. You see, when mantra diksha is given, mantra could be Om. It could be Om Namah Shivaya. It could be anything. What is it doing actually? It is locking your mind onto that so that you do not get lost in this material world. Silence is the greatest mantra. A person has to become silent and watch. In a recent case, I told the person, you be silent and just listen. That person went and spoke for 1 hour with another person, thinking that I am doing good in this world, trying to correct somebody. And that someone went and spoke to someone else, and then a big memo was issued in the place, destroying the entire peace of this world. For that person, then another person, and then another person, and right up to the top management came to know about it. Why? Because the mantra called silence was never understood by the person. And that same person will get into further trouble if that mantra is never followed. Isn't it true? So it's exactly how it is. Be silent, free from action. When you are given the understanding with your own guru, can you be silent? Don't talk. The person is supposed to be silent. When your guru says, get out from here, your job is to get out. Understanding the guru is very, very important. His words are uttermost important. If ever the universe is experienced, it will not lead to error, being one discarded as unreal, but will linger as memory only till death. Whatever happened in the world, if you consider it just as a phantasm and just a stupidity, you are not going to dwell on the subject forever. If somebody has come in your life and has left now, X they call it, why are you dwelling on that subject? The person came and left. Drop the subject. So he says, this experience that you got in the universe, it will not lead to error. You will not become a wrong person if you only let it be. That drop the subject because it is unreal. It doesn't actually exist. Otherwise, you will be the mad person roaming on the street thinking like this, looking and pointing at things. Why do you want to become that idiot? Don't dwell on the subject. This is a very important lesson. Don't dwell on stupid subjects which are going to keep your mind locked in some things. Do that job, move ahead. Do that job, move ahead. Do that job, move ahead. Don't keep on dwelling on the subject. What happens? It is just remaining as a memory and you need not tease the memory at all. Yes, that X is only a memory in your mind. But is it disturbing you right now? No. That X is only a memory. The disturbance that was there is gone. Just let it remain as a memory somewhere lost there. Don't bring it out again and again and again and destroy your peace and the world's peace. And this is what Krishna is telling the person. All these withdraw the organs. Then he says, be immersed in your own bliss. Be lost in yourself. Just point all the fingers towards yourself, inwards. Give up the desires. Be silent. Important mantra. Be silent and free from action. Why are you doing those actions? Why do you shout? Why do you get into anger mode? Why does a person have to keep on getting disturbed? Give up those actions. And then whatever is experienced in the universe, whatever that happens in the universe, just think that it is Maya's creation and don't dwell so much on it. Being lost in yourself, you are going to succeed in this world. If you want to go ahead, this is the formula. Be silent. Do not dwell on the subject. Be free from action. Just think that the universe that you experience is not going to lead you to error, because everything that you saw, heard, touched, felt, everything that is connected to the organs of these sense organs and the organs of action is unreal. It doesn't actually exist. And then you will be in a blissful state. Tomorrow when we open up, I will have a shorter satsang. I will try that. And then we will understand what a perfect man is going to be. So I will leave you all over here. You have a very wonderful day and take care of yourself and don't get lost in the mind. Bye.